Welcome to the topic of leadership. And I'm thrilled today to have with me Lidia Conci, Managing Director of AvantiCare's, and also 2019 Telstra Small Business Woman of the Year South Australia. So a great achievement, congratulations. Lydia's origins began in speech pathology, and I know for 10 years or so you had a mobile allied health business that morphed into now AvantiCare. Tell us a bit about AvantiCare.
AvantiCare's, so we do deliver all of the allied health and wellbeing services to the aged care sector, but we're so much bigger than that now. And what I mean by that is the vision is so much bigger. We're really all about facilitating purpose and meaning in the lives of those we work with, and that's our platform, that's our philosophy, and that's what we live by.
Yeah, I know that's been an interesting journey for you, and we've had many discussions around leadership and what that looks like. And I know a lot of the catchphrases from today are things like communication, critical thinking, digital literacy, problem solving. There's lots of buzzwords around, what is leadership and what does it look like. But I'm always inspired by your perhaps unconventional views on leadership, or maybe just not so popular yet views on leadership. Would you share some of those with us?
Yeah, definitely. So you're right, there's many buzzwords. They don't mean anything to me, and they don't resonate with me. And I think for me, leadership is about keeping it really real and just being really authentic. I think you are the best leader that you can be when you dig deep and actually follow your passion and your purpose, and really look at what another human being wants in terms of leading them, inspiring them. That's what leadership is for me.
And so in AvantiCare, how do you get your passion and your purpose through to your team with your leadership?
Well, I have a lot of energy, so a lot of energy, and I guess I express a lot of that in everything I do. So I live through, demonstrate everything through the way I live and behave in business. But we just put a lot of things into place that really empower our team, really empower them to share the vision and believe in the vision. I mean, it all starts really with recruitment. So for us, we start at that level. Whenever we bring anyone into the team, I don't ever really interview for someone to actually have the skill set. That's the least of my concerns. As long as they've got the qualification, that's the basics. I then really just have a discussion, and I look and get a feel. And I've learned to really tap into my own intuition, my own gut instinct about things. I cannot stress enough how important that is. I never listened to that before. But once you do, you make some really good decisions. So I follow that, I follow my instinct. I see if someone is a good fit for the organisation and the culture, and then we bring them on board. Because then you've got someone who's the right personality and the right fit that you can then teach and train in your kind of approach. So that's been working wonders.
And so I know you lead from the heart as well. Yes. Tell me, why is that so important?
I just think it's really important to treat others the way you want to be treated. So for me, when I am leading a team of people, I just want them to get on board with what I feel and what I'm living. I'm so passionate about it that I can't help but get excited. And so when I get excited, I just think people sort of pick up on that energy and run with it. And so it's just treating them with the respect that they deserve in the way that you would feel as a human. We are all humans. No one leader is any more important than someone who's in your team. I often say to my guys, I tell them quite often that I'm just so grateful for them and I value them so much, and they probably get sick of hearing that from me, but it's because I genuinely do. I can't run my business, I can't do what I do without them. So they are the nuts and bolts of my vision and putting it into place. So and I value that. So if I put all my time and energy into helping them fulfill their purpose and what they love doing and what they enjoy, then they're going to share my vision and do their work with my vision. So and that's what I see happening. That's what I love. So we just had some feedback recently from an organisation telling us that our staff sort of walk around with a spring in their step, and I feel really proud to hear that, because that's a lot of the energy that I'm hopefully giving to them and they're experiencing. So just a very human-centred approach, being very empathetic to their needs and what they want.
Your business is an allied health business, and you provide allied health services that no doubt have some check boxes to tick and legs to stretch and things like that. But I know that's only maybe not even half of your business. You have a bigger purpose for your business that's really centred around human and purpose and those kind of things, where your allied health workers out in the field become leaders themselves. Can you talk us through that expansion of, allied health?
Yeah. No, so you're right. In the industry, it is very structured, compliance-driven sort of industry, and I think the tendency is that you would fall into that category of wanting to just go in, tick the box, do what you need to do to meet compliance, do the basics, and that's it. But for me, I could never, be happy delivering a service that just does what it needs to do to tick compliance. I don't think that the consumer at the end, which is your client or your resident, actually really gains anything from it. So for me, it was so important to know that if we're delivering a service, there has to be a really beneficial outcome for the consumer at the end or the client at the end. So a lot of what we've done is really look at our program and our entire model and the way we deliver the service, so that at the end game for us is really about facilitating the purpose in that person's life. I mean, the research is so significant and so compelling around the benefits to cognitive wellbeing, physical wellbeing, if someone has purpose in their life.
How do you overcome some of those challenges where people are just after compliance? And I know you're passionate just like me, and we want more for our sector.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I think for many years, there were those individuals who you sort of put forward an idea and it'd be like, well, you can't do that for this reason and you can't do that for that reason. And to be honest, I think one of the biggest barriers for me were not other people, but were myself. Yeah. And I came to a point where I realised that I was my own worst enemy, in that I allowed the self-doubt to creep in. So when someone would say no, I would just crumble and go, okay, maybe it's me that's wrong. I must not be thinking right. I think when I got past that point, and there were lots of personal things on my journey that got me to a point where I accepted that I just had to believe in myself a lot more and let go of the fear that I think holds many of us back. That's when things started to happen. That's when the magic happened, because you'd still have your naysayers, but you have far more clarity and conviction behind what you believe in, and the intent is always good. And so those receiving it start to actually think outside the square a little bit.
I think it's that whole pulling together of some of those human element, leadership qualities, such as trust, gut instinct, trust, those kind of elements that really pull together.
Yeah, definitely. So I think for me, it's believing in yourself. It's being really authentic, just being true to your own journey, like true to yourself. When I started to actually be true to me, rather than what everyone was telling me I needed to be, that's when I became far clearer in my conviction. I think that comes across. People see that. There's no sort of fluff around what I say. It's what I genuinely feel, and it comes from the heart. And I believe in it, and I know it's for the greater good. And I think a lot of people don't recognise that in business we have such a huge responsibility and such an amazing opportunity to actually shift the way things happen in the world. I think we all think that we don't have that opportunity, and for a long time I thought that too. But I think as business owners, you do. You can create a real shift, and collectively, if people, I think, from a leadership point of view, if we all start to see business in that way and start to shift the way we work our business, there's going to be a great, collective transformation of movement towards a more positive outcome.
So it's okay to be courageous.
Yes, courage, absolutely.
And believe in what you believe in, and
be willing to be vulnerable. Oh my gosh, that was another one for me. I think not that I have a fear of showing my emotions. I've never been that sort of person, but I think when you really allow yourself to be vulnerable and know that you can make a mistake, we all do, and not feel that you have to be perfect and get it right. When you're willing to accept that, you are more willing to take the risks and be courageous and jump out there and try things. And that's been really powerful, because I just started to realise, we're all human. No one should be on a pedestal. I think leadership is not about trying to tell people what you know and what they don't know. I recognise I don't have all the answers. I'm far from perfect. There are a lot of people who know more than me. But if I know that, I'll tap into them. And I'll help them come along and collaborate with me. So leadership is really influencing other people, influencing what they're capable of doing, and coming together to sort of work for the greater good together. That's what I really genuinely believe in every fibre of my being.
So much discussion around the Royal Commission, and there's lots of talk around aged care's broken, that retirement living is rip-offs, and we're horrid, and we shouldn't be in the business of helping people live in communities. What do we need to do to move past that, do you think, in terms of the right leadership to move out of that period?
I have quite a strong opinion, actually. I recently wrote something about this, in which I I expressed the fact that I feel like, as you recognise, we are a broken system, and we've got a Royal Commission, and it's unearthing a lot that we've probably known for some time exists, to be honest, those of us in the industry. But I think there's a lot of discussion around why and who the players are and what's actually wrong. I'm going to call it for what it is. I actually think it is a real fear-based culture and a real lack of courage in this industry. If we have leaders, and I think it stems from leadership, and I'm not talking about just organisation specific, I'm talking about across the board. Yeah. The more I speak to people, the more I get this, this element of, but you can't do that because it's not regulated, or you can't do that because it won't be compliant, or you can't do that because that's not how it's done. But my rebuttal to that is, what's working for us right now? We're in a broken system, it's not working, and we have to be extremely creative, and we have to start looking outside of the square and stop seeing aging or aged services as a clinical hospital style model. We really need to be focusing outside of that and looking at the fact that aging is, we still should value our elderly as they get to a certain age. They can still contribute to their aging journey. If we look at it, and this lends itself to the discussion around ageism, which is probably another discussion, but if you really look at it and we start to value the elderly and empower them with the ability to still be involved in their ageing journey, you're going to get a far better outcome, and the models need to be conducive to that, and at the moment they are. So to do that requires leaders who are really courageous, who are willing to dig deep and actually say, you know what, I'm going to take the risk. I know it's risky, but there is no other way. And that's kind of where I come from, and what I'm trying to, impart onto other people is be courageous. Don't be scared. Just dive in and look at it from a completely different viewpoint. Or we are not going to change. We're going to do much of the same and not change where we're going. And especially now as the dust sort of settles, as the Royal Commission gets sort of towards the end, we're in a perfect opportunity to kind of remap everything so it works better for us, rather than just picking up and look where we left off.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, and I think, courageous leadership to make the change, and to be able to always say we're not stuck. If we make a change, we're not stuck with that. No. We have the ability now to be able to change. If it's not working, flex it, bend it.
Absolutely.
But be brave enough and be courageous enough to do that.
It's a blank canvas. We can do whatever we need to do because the consumers coming through now are ready for it.
And it doesn't have to be set in stone and stay that way. No. I think as a leader, that's probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned is everything's forever changing. Our consumers changing, the government's changing, and as you say, we need to reframe all the time.
Yes.
And we're no longer in a fortuitous situation where we can just set and forget.
No,
we now have to keep building, and I think it shows real leadership if you can be looking outside of the box and trying to
and drive the teams with you to do that.
Exactly. About what are 2 bits of advice you'd give to a new leader or someone that might have come up through the ranks and they're just starting their leadership journey? If you could give them 2 things to work on for the next 3 or 4 months, what would they be?
I think one of them would be try and find what you feel your purpose or your passion is, because you need to have purpose to drive something in business. If you are doing something for the sake of running a business that there's no real why behind it, there's no real purpose behind it, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to know what that big vision is that you're chasing at the end. So I think the first thing would be really look inside. A lot of that's introspective stuff that you have to do. Really look at what you are and what floats your boat, what gets you up in the morning, what excites you. Once you find that, then you've got a whole heap of energy and vision to create. And I think second to that is just accept that we are all human. Yeah. No one is perfect, and be willing to just put yourself out there, warts and all, and keep chugging away at what that vision is. And if you do it with good intent and with passion and with courage, you'll get there. And it's not easy. It is a long journey. It's never easy. But I think part of getting there is the journey. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Lydia, I know we've talked about this, and we both feel very strongly about the humans in our businesses, whether they're our residents or whether they're the staff that work with us. Like you and I are very alike in terms of being people, and it's not uncommon for me to say, oh, I love that person, or I love that, and we use that word often, but I know it's really important to you.
It is.
And we've talked about that in terms of leadership, that love actually is part of being a good leader.
Absolutely.
Can you talk me through why that's so?
So it's funny because I quite often throw that word out there, either in something I'm writing or something I'm talking about. And I actually do that intentionally because I think that's one of my big drives. When you talk about love for someone, you're talking about love for a human, your fellow human. And when you come at it from that place, you are genuinely going to put everything in place to make things better for that person, and that's going to ripple through everything you do. And I think that's one of the biggest drives. It's such a taboo word, people get really uncomfortable with it, but it's the thread of all that we are as humans. Yeah. And so if we can all come from a place of love, from a heartfelt place, our decisions are going to be really for our fellow humans, and the success is going to come. It really will, but it will come with far more reward than just looking at numbers and spreadsheets.
Yeah, love it. I love the fact that we're ending on love. So thank you so much for your time today and for sharing with us your very strong views on human-centered leadership. I agree. I think we're in a people revolution.
Absolutely.
And the people are starting to matter. And I think if we can help leaders be more courageous to focus on what they think, that's going to be a better place for the industry. So thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. Thank you.